Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we're going to be talking a little bit more about why all these consoles are so hard to find, especially for the PS5, the Xbox, and the Switch. We actually have covered this topic at least a decent bit about on this channel itself, but I'm going to try my best to work on actually some new topics that are also kind of making their way a lot throughout this past week or so, and as well also like a little bit of a nice little recap for all of it too, because I actually have had a lot of brand new subscribers, or as well, maybe someone's actually new to the channel and they're trying their best to kind of figure out why it actually is so hard to go and see. Now, there's a lot of like really stable things such as like the semiconductors and other various things that I'm sure you guys actually know about. There's actually some other little kind of interesting things to go and talk about in regards to how they're actually being sold, the distribution of it, and also the internals of how it's basically, well, just hard to go and get. And also going to chime in some other things that we've actually been seeing throughout these past few weeks, such as literally even Sony themselves spending a lot of money on literally getting private jets to go and deliver consoles. So while this actually is somewhat of a similar topic that we've kind of seen a lot of, it's also intriguing to kind of go and see it from a different perspective now that we're actually at the holiday rush instead of actually thinking about the holiday rush itself. So if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 disc, digital console, and controller. Twitter and Twitch stream as well, link down below. Sign up for Weeble, deposit $100. You guys go get free stock, free money. You also get free Tesla stock, so make sure you sign up for that. As well, Coinbase, if you guys go buy $100 worth of any cryptocurrency, you guys go and get free Bitcoin. Those are always linked down below, so let's go down the video itself. So as I mentioned, when it comes to all these consoles, we've had an overall plague of this for the past year when it comes to semiconductors, when it comes to productions, when it comes to plants being shut down. But there's also sometimes even more new issues that do kind of go and develop as of even right now. One really big one I'm going to go dive on into especially is the actual act of transportation. And we touched on this a little bit throughout videos, but as of right now, that's like the two biggest sources of everything's kind of basically being supply blocked, and people can't even actually get the actual cargo that's been delivered out due to lack of actual resources, employees working, and overall just it is so much swamped. And as well also the big factor of distribution, which we actually can kind of touch on, especially for the Xbox Series X and a little bit on the PlayStation 5 too as well, because they actually do go and sell their consoles normally. We actually have a very intriguing article over here too as well from the Star, which we're going to go and chime on into and talk about, kind of also talking about these major issues and kind of summarizing them in a somewhat nice manner. So let's go and talk about this. We have a lot of topics to go talk about all throughout this video. So if you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy, let's go talk about it. So as I mentioned, basically right now, all these consoles, laptops, cars, everything has all been hard to find, and I'm sure you guys have known about it, but some intriguing stuff as well to chime on in. So some notes I really want to go make too and talk about is there actually is some very intriguing quotes to go and talk about over here. So basically for this one, long queues, overstretched online stores, frustrated customers, it's all part of the game when it comes to the sales launches of hotly sought after new consoles. However, with Sony's PlayStation 5 and Microsoft's Xbox Series X, it's a permanent state of affairs. Since the launch basically a year ago, it's been virtually impossible to buy the devices, and it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. The reasons for the ongoing delivery problems are the same as those plaguing the auto industry. For example, a shortage of raw materials and finished parts such as computer chips, plus disruptions for the international movement of goods. Game consoles are very complex products made of many hundreds of parts, and it's enough that one is missing to not be able to build them, says Willie Sheep, a professor at Harvard Business School and an expert on international supply chains. So, first and foremost, of course, you guys always kind of see where a lot of these things are sold out for literal seconds in the first place, which also, I actually never really talk about this too much. If you guys ever go and have a console, you guys say the PS5 or the Xbox, there actually is a big psychological aspect to it as well, which is kind of like the big case of FOMO or fear of missing out, where a lot of people, maybe you guys included, I know myself, like it's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm in the same exact boat, especially for this new Halo Infinite Xbox Series X, where you go and you see the website, you see the add to cart, even though it might be buggy or maybe already be out of stock by the time you even open up the web page, but that like little bit and piece of other people getting the consoles, other people getting excited with it, other people posting their W's on Twitter. I'm someone who actually celebrates that. I'm happy because, I've been doing all these videos and working on this for a while. But there is a lot of people who kind of get that kind of jealous / kind of meh feeling because you've been trying your best for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year to try to get your consoles. So it's actually something kind of intriguing too as well. I don't usually cover because there is a lot of a big FOMO issue where you see it and you just want to go and get it. And as well, the kind of secondary part too is the fact that since the stock is so low, a lot of these places will instantly go out of stock, which always kind of goes back to the normal demand, which kind of goes into other stuff such as literally the bots and resellers. So we have a lot of these really big when it comes to these, big bots everywhere where people will instantly go and buy and buy out hundreds of consoles, thousands of consoles. I'm sure you guys have heard me complain about this, talk about that. But that kind of goes hand in hand as well with the FOMO issue, where you see the stock, you hope a Walmart will be up for a while, you kind of have it like within your sights, within your fingers, your friend got a console from Walmart, and then you go and see that it instantly goes out of stock within 1 or 2 minutes. Or the same idea with the raffle system, where you're kind of always on edge trying to get that console, but sadly just can't go and get it, which is always just kind of around kind of sad to go and see that FOMO side, which also then keeps on people wanting to keep on being active and trying to get their console and trying their hardest to go get it, which kind of keeps the overall, like, I guess, like the demand even harder. It's basically when you know something's worth a lot more money, even if you don't necessarily think it's worth that much more extra money, you still want to get it on that just human nature. But some more interesting stuff too, as well as when it regards to the actual transportation side. So when it comes to this, the situation is basically really bad at the start of sales, says Petra Froelich, editor-in-chief of a German gaming website. Customers who have ordered and paid for the new consoles months before release had to wait even a long time just to go and get them. And as well, if the worldwide trade comes to a standstill, as it did in spring after the Ever Given incident in the Suez Canal, you guys remember that huge boat that was stuck for weeks, then there basically is just no even consoles even arriving at that point. And basically we're able to go and follow that whole title, like display, like basically the whole supply chain issue from that, very easy to go and see. But thankfully, that was actually finally, thankfully, taken out after almost a week, though. But a secondary factor, besides the fact that everything is so backlogged and all these big ports are backlogged, which we'll talk about that first, is right now, a lot of our really big distribution areas and transportation areas are extremely, extremely backlogged. To the point where we keep on seeing it even getting more and more and more backlogged as time goes on. Mainly because we have all these holiday sales, we have all these big companies, we have products of everything, sticky notes to literally computers to literally cars. There are literally millions upon millions of boxes and crates that are still sitting there. And this is kind of one of those like problems where they're trying their best to sort through it the best they can, but it kind of goes the same thing with the Suez Canal, where if you basically can't get the products off of the ships, off of the cargo places, etc., it's kind of basically stuck there, which also means no restocks and no other consoles in general, which is why that also ties into the PlayStation 5 literally having to go and like be flown in through huge fighter jets to go and actually have all their consoles dropped in, where I'm sure Sony spent a lot of money to make sure they could have their markets physically there in person, especially for Black Friday sales and in-store purchases. And that kind of goes to show that even some places like Microsoft might even have to use alternative means to even deliver consoles, because all of our big ports and a lot of cargo ships and everything and do a lot of transportation are basically all backlogged, and it's just so hard to go and sort through. It's not a good situation. There's not a lot of stock, and the employees are already working pretty much 24/7. And even then, the stock keeps on being built up more and more and more. This is mainly just regards to supply chain issues, transportation issues, and as well also just distribution issues, and the fact that it's just so hard to even lot the stuff on in. And as well, a very intriguing fact that we almost never mentioned, an exuberating factor is that unlike Apple, Sony, and Microsoft only have a few distribution channels for their own products, selling instead almost exclusively through electronics in-store retailers. Well, if a big thing to note, and that is more so based on like say Walmart, Target, Amazon, GameStop. And while there is things like the PlayStation Direct that does go and sell consoles on occasion, or as well as also the Microsoft Direct stores, while this kind of comes down to the fact that if Target, if they have supply issues, if they're waiting extra time for it, if they basically miss their drop times, that means that that's more not necessarily on Sony's issue. It's because of their fault, though. It is why it's like the big issue in the first place. But more so, that just means that Target just means they just won't sell it because they don't have the stock. It's not necessarily their problem. They're supposed to get the stock. It's more on Sony in the first place, if that kind of makes sense. It's basically, think about this. If you have your own store, you have a lot more control on your product. Think like Apple stores that are in malls everywhere. That's a lot easier for you to go and be like, whatever, you're Walmart itself. You can kind of decide what you want to sell, when you want to sell it as best as you can. Versus, say, Microsoft and also for Sony. They don't necessarily have too many, walk-in shops. They have their own websites, but most of their selling is done through, say, like Amazon or, say, through Walmart. So that's another big factor, is that they also have to go then, they have to have the actual consoles be made. They have to go get the consoles. They have to have the consoles delivered. They have to go then have the consoles delivered to, say, Walmart's distribution centers. And Walmart has to go and put and move those over through FedEx to your own place. It's like a lot of extra steps too as well for, say, like a pure Apple store or like a appear even like sometimes like even for Tesla too as well. They're able to go rot that on out. So basically there's a few other little various things mixed in with the usual semiconductors and supply shortages and also bots and resellers, which are still plaguing everything too as well. Because of course, obviously if everything's being botted, we've covered that a lot on the channel. I have to go dive into it too much. But I kind of feel like these other outside sources, such as the actual really big backlogs on just all these huge cargo ship areas, and these also the same other factors too with the FOMO that we never really talked about, and as well as also the fact that literally Sony and Microsoft are not selling most of the time direct. Most of their stock is more so through these other retailers. It kind of goes to showing why this shortage is again getting even worse, and it might be even harder throughout this holiday season. Now, we knew this was going to be coming for the past like year or so it's not the biggest deal. It was always very intriguing for me to get to go look a little more of a deeper dive tied on in and kind of seeing how the scarcity and all this stuff will be affecting all the markets overall. So hopefully in the near future, we've kind of seen some kind of topsy-turvy stuff from Sony officials and Xbox officials, but on the bright side, everything is at least trying their best to fix it so they can keep on selling more consoles. So make sure you guys are subscribed and the notifications on, or leave your comments down below on all of this. As well, make sure you guys just are checking the Amazon links down below, the PS5 Digital Console Controller, Twitter and Twitch stream as well, the link down below. Sign up for Weeble, deposit $100, you guys go get free stock for money. Coinbase, you guys go buy $100 worth of any cryptocurrency, you guys go and get free Bitcoin, and of course sign up for Weeble, get that free Tesla stock. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you guys.